of when, not if, he passes Sam Snead.
You mentioned Sam Snead. He spoke about him early in the week in his news conference, and Tiger's in the field for the first time. He's coming off a win where it was kind of his will over that of Bo Van Pelt late at the AT&T National.
Well, that it was, and certainly the driver at Congressional, it wasn't what it has been pretty much for most of the year. But Tripp, as we take a look at Tiger and we watch him swing, and it just continues to improve every time I see him. It kind of reminds me that when he was working with Butch Harmon,
Absolutely.
when he got the swing to where it was three-quarter. Now, I know this is a wedge, but watch at the top of the swing. I mean, you could do if it was parallel at the top, you could do chin-ups up there. That club looks as stable at the top of the swing as I've seen Tiger Woods swing.
And the other thing I like is he's shaping the ball not with his hands. I think under Hank Haney, he had to shape the ball a lot with his hands. He is shaping it now more with his angle of attack. You see, when he wants to hit a fade, you'll see him actually take a little divot with a 3-wood. You never saw him do that with Hank Haney. So that's a much more reliable way to work the ball right to left and left to right when you're doing it with your angle of attack and you take the hands out of it. It's so much more effective.
Well, and it's amazing because, we know he's always had the focus. But now the belief system with what he and Sean Foley are doing, they've changed things up a little bit, Tripp. When we were out at the U.S. Open, no longer would Sean Foley be behind him kind of critiquing what was going on. Sean Foley, not on the range. He may have been up there, but he was not in visual of Tiger Woods. And I think that's a good thing because he's gotten to the point where he knows what he's doing. He understands the golf swing. He doesn't need somebody out there saying, this looks good, this doesn't look good, this looks bad. Just go out there and play the game. And I love the way he's swinging the golf.
Well, and you talk about that, and I think that's part of the process that every player wants to get to with their coach. Because a coach cannot be with you on the golf course when you're playing in competition. You need to do this on your own. You need to go and walk the tightrope by yourself out there. And I think it's a great point that you point out. You see Sean much less around Tiger, and that means Tiger's owning this golf swing much more. And the other thing that is remarkable last week was the short game. We're seeing him hit balls here, but Tiger Woods was always up and scrambling. And in fact, he's won 13 of his 74 times. He's led the field in scrambling, and last week was indicative of that. He led the field in scrambling again. So when Tiger Woods is off a little bit with his long game and can save it with the short game, he doesn't make many bogeys.
No, he doesn't. And, if he drives the ball relatively straight here at Old White, he's going to be a factor again.
Of course.
His strokes gained putting, you said he went from 38th up to like 14th.
Yep.
I mean, that's a massive jump when you start talking about strokes gained putting.
And he's gone 83 consecutive holes without a 3-putt, too. And to go around Congressional's greens, now you've been around those greens. Tell everybody what a monumental feat that is to go around there without a 3-putt all week. 72 straight holes without a 3-putt there. And we go back to the 8th hole in the last round at the U.S. Open, the last time he had a 3-putt.
Pebble Beach, win by 15, no 3-putts. Is there any...
Augusta National with no 3-putts.
Exactly.
He won there in '97 with no 3-putts.
And he also had 16 putts of 10 feet or less on Sunday at Congressional. 16 for 16, including that gutsy one he made on 17 from 8 feet, dead in the middle. You talked about some of his numbers. He's 5th in total driving. For a fair point of the year, he was 1st in total driving. Is there any aspect of his full game right now that you think is its greatest strength? Does one stand out? He's 1st in proximity from 175 to 200.
I would say that if I had to look at one thing, we talk about how good his driving has become. I think his iron play has improved even more.
We're going to leave the Greenbrier for a moment.